300 cases a year, you should have no more than 25 bond failures per month. C is to educate and reward the patient. Reward the behavior you want repeated. If you do not already have an excellent education program for patients who are starting into treatment, and if you do not already have a motivational program to reward patients for good behavior, work on that right away. One of my favorite ideas is to set up the buddy system. The way the system works is a patient who has some challenges with cooperation is assigned to a particular assistant. She writes cards, calls, and stays in contact with them about their cooperation. Believe it or not, the patients who are the hardest to love need it the most. Quite often, they are living in homes where they are not getting a lot of recognition or positive feedback from their families. Having a buddy may be just the thing that they needed. D is to streamline the system for repairs. If you have to do a repair on a patient, the clinical assistant should not be running to 5 different places to set that up. You need to have a tray set up at your unit so that you can streamline that system for repairs. Get that repair done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Some offices have a lab technician or someone in the front desk who also is cross-trained for repairs. This helps with keeping the schedule on track. E is to set standards, but be realistic. Quite often, the staff gets frustrated because the orthodontist says, from now on, if we have a loose bond, we're going to reschedule it. Monday morning rolls around and a patient comes in with a loose bond. The doctor says, well, this patient drove a long way and is the child of a referring dentist. I think we need to go ahead and fix this today. You can imagine how this is going to land with the staff. So please be realistic about the standards you set in your office. F is to deband the patient if necessary. No one likes to use this option, but some people are just not emotionally ready to take on the responsibility of being an orthodontic patient. Sit down and have a conference to decide what is going to work best for that patient. It is very difficult to continue on with a patient that has excessive breakage and numerous no-shows. The doctor needs to take charge of this early on in the treatment when red flags go up. If you determine that the patient does not want treatment, don't make them feel badly about it. Talk with the patient or the parent, and if the answer is ending treatment, get a release signed and try to end the relationship on a positive note. Conflict number 4, when the overall schedule is not working. The schedule is the hub of the orthodontic practice. More often than not, this is where conflicts will occur. I wrote an article once called How to Quit Blaming Your Appointment Coordinator for a Faulty Schedule. When the schedule is not working, typically that is the person who gets blamed. Let's talk about some solutions to prevent having a faulty schedule and creating one that works for everyone involved. A is making sure that the patients and parents are educated up front in the new patient process regarding how you schedule appointments. Tell them what happens if you have an emergency. I prefer that you show them a color-coded template of how you schedule your appointments. Don't promise all after-school appointments if you see patients between 8 and 5 most days. Tell people the truth up front and put everything in writing regarding your appointment guidelines. B is having an organized template. This is one of the things that I create when I consult with an office. We also offer our Scheduling for Success training course that is a great tool to help you create your template yourself. Without the proper template, the appointment coordinator is more apt to schedule appointments out there in no man's land where we really do not have someone assigned to a chair. Quite often, I find that offices have an inadequate template that is not congruent with the number of appointments needed each and every day. When I come in and help the team create a template, it is amazing what happens to the front-to-back conflict. It just goes away. Everybody needs the foundation of an effective template in order to make the schedule work. C is being able to keep patients clinically on track. Ideally, if you start 300 patients a year, you should have no more than 600 active patients. If you start 400 patients a year, you should have no more than 800 active patients. 200 starts a year should be no more than 400 active patients. Orthodontists often have too many active patients because they need to streamline their mechanics and their treatment planning. With a good solid foundation of a great treatment plan and treatment goals, the orthodontist will finish the case on time 90% of the time. One of the things that I do when I come to an office is to check the number of visits per case. Ideally, a full treatment case should be no more than 18 to 20 visits, and for a partial treatment, 6 to 8 visits. Many doctors think they have a patient flow problem, and when in reality, they have a treatment mechanics problem. The orthodontist should spend many hours per year studying clinical efficiency. D is to have an organized patient flow. One of the things that I typically suggest is for each clinical assistant to have their own column of patients. This allows them to get their trays set up and their charts ready. Each assistant is accountable for her patients. You need an inflow area and an outflow area. The clinical assistants need to know who is checking in so they can control their inflow. The appointment coordinators need to focus on the outflow and the telephones. If you have patients check in and out in the same spot, it creates a traffic jam. Patients should check in on the computer in the reception area. That information then is transferred to the screen in the clinical area. The assistant should control their own inflow of patients. E is to streamline your retainer checks. A current trend is for the orthodontist to follow their retainer patients for 1 or 2 years and to have anywhere from 2 to 4 retainer checks. Doctors who are involved in research may want to select a few patients that they want to follow longer for research purposes. I often find 10, 12, or 15 retainer checks on the schedule per day and no real system in place for ending the retainer check process. Evaluate the number of retainer checks in your system. How can we streamline our retainer check system is a great question to pursue at your next staff meeting. F is the observation recall effectiveness. Quite often in my consulting, I find an ineffective observation recall system to be the deterrent to the exam to start ratio. You need to have a fail-proof observation recall system. The very best, statistically speaking, is to appoint the patient before they leave the office. If a patient needs to be seen in 6 months, make that appointment before they leave the office. Confirm the appointment with a letter or a card 1 to 2 weeks in advance of the appointed time. Recall effectiveness is the key to high case acceptance. G is to have no more than 5 to 10% of your active patients pass their D-band target date. Running reports monthly and knowing how many of your patients are past their D-band target date is essential to running an efficient appointment book. Like I said earlier, you can calculate this by doubling the number of starts you do per year. If you have 300 full and partial starts, you should have no more than 600 active patients. If you have more than that, then you need to start looking at your treatment planning. Plan to get the results that you want in a sufficient and timely manner. Orthodontists who could go past the 2-year treatment plan and the majority of their cases are losing referrals. People today are busy and they want their orthodontic treatment done in 24 months or less. Most doctors today see patients every 6 to 8 weeks, and some even every 10 weeks. If you are still seeing your patients every 4 weeks, there are a lot of improvements that you need to make to enhance your appointment book control. H is to control your no-shows and late patients. It is a great source of frustration for the staff when they have no guidelines for late patients or no-show patients. Ideally, the active patients who no-show should be called on a daily basis to be reappointed. No more than 7% of your patients should no-show. If you have a computer system that calls everyone on a nightly basis, typically no more than 2 to 3% of your patients will no-show. Also, another 7% of your patients on average are going to reschedule their appointments. That is a given because you are dealing with the American public. If you have computerized check-in, you can calculate each day how many of your patients were late. There again, another 5 to 7% of your patients are going to come in late for their appointments. You need to have office guidelines regarding rescheduling patients who are habitually late for their appointments. Well, we've covered some major areas that cause conflict to occur in your office. Now, let's talk about when you are most vulnerable to conflict. Turn to page 5 in your handout to make some notes. When you know that you are going into one of those stressful situations, do some proactive things to prevent conflict from happening. Remember, the fun times carry us through the stressful times. You are most vulnerable to conflict, number 1, when a new person joins the team. When a new person joins the team, make sure you have a system set up for orientation. Make it a joint welcome so that no one feels threatened by the new person coming in. Also, set up a structure for the training program. One of my clients actually rewards not only the new staff member, but the trainer as well when the official training is completed. Number 2 is when there is a change in job descriptions. If you do not have a need for restructuring job descriptions in the practice, then this is not a problem on your team. However, the doctor and office manager should sit down with everyone anytime you revamp the job descriptions and make sure that everyone understands who is responsible for what in the office. Realize that we are creatures of habit and it takes 21 days to make a change. So that first 21 days, potentially, we may not like it or we may have some conflict. Number 3 is when you hire an associate. This is also a time for lots of change in the office when you hire an associate. That associate needs a job description and the staff needs to understand what their role will be and how the schedule will change. Sit down and discuss all of these things as a team before the associate comes into the office. Decide how you are going to introduce the associate to the patients and to the referring dentist. This is a major change for the practice, and it is important to keep the communication lines open. Number 4, the next time that you are vulnerable to conflict is when you install a new computer system. Wow, is this ever a biggie? This creates probably more stress than anything else in the office. Get ready for it. Decide when you're going to do your installation. Decide how you're going to get your data entered and when you're going to have your training sessions. And doctors, please do not expect the staff to do this on top of their other work. You have to have time set aside to make this happen. Be realistic that you're going to have some glitches and it may not go just as planned. Plan some pizza parties or maybe go bowling. Do some fun things to reduce the stress. The fun times get us through the stressful times. Maybe even a venting board would be great, where you write down how you're feeling in a humorous tone. Laugh your way through the stress. The 5th thing is when you move to a new office. Moving to a new office is a lot of fun and everybody loves it when you get there. But during the process, it can be challenging and can definitely make your team vulnerable to conflict. I have a client who just renovated his existing space. It was supposed to take 2 weeks and it took 4. As a result, the appointment coordinator had to call hundreds of people to reschedule them. It was not a lot of fun. However, they got through the process. They had excellent teamwork, good relationships, and were able to make it through the process thanks to their understanding of the stressful situation and their ability to work together as a team. As you can see, all of these vulnerable situations that I've just discussed deal with change. Now, we all know that some of us love change and some of us don't. Just to let you know how we are creatures of habit, I'd like for you to put your pens and papers down just for a moment and fold your arms just so you feel comfortable. Now, look down and notice which wrist you have on top. If you have your left wrist on top, I want you to raise your hand. Okay? Now, you are the sexy people on your team. Now, if you're like me and have your right wrist on top, raise your hand. Believe it or not, we are the people who think we're sexy. Now, without thinking about it, change the way you cross your arms with the other wrist on top. It's a little difficult, isn't it? It feels awkward. The purpose of that little exercise, besides a good laugh, is to show you how change is difficult. So think about that little exercise, and it might add some humor to a stressful situation in the future and make you a little less vulnerable to conflict. Moving on to page 6, I want to talk to you about some specific ways to build team spirit in your practice. Number 1 is to have both individual and common goals. I would like to challenge every clinical assistant to set the goal to receive their orthodontic certification through the Dental Assisting National Board. There is also a business dental certification available through the Dental Assisting National Board. Continue to get better at what you do as a professional. Set goals for the office as well. It may be spending 6% or less for clinical supplies, or 1.5% for business supplies, or reorganizing your sterilization. Whatever you decide to focus on, record what your goals are for the team this year. Number 2 is to celebrate your achievements together as a team. This can be as simple as going out for pizza or as exciting as coming to our Progressive Concepts annual cruise. Celebrate your achievements together as a team. These are great opportunities to bond and have a lot of fun together, which lighten the heavier moments in the office. Number 3 is to make sure a job well done does not go unnoticed. Recognition and feedback are the keys to high performance, and without it, you will never create team power. Doctors, if you are hearing a lot of griping in your office, this could be a direct result of too much criticism and not enough praise. Work on getting that in check in your office right away. So often, staff members tell me they hear feedback quickly when they are wrong, but rarely when they are right. Number 4, the leader inspires the team through vision. The best book I've ever read on leadership was called Credibility. It can be purchased at your local bookstore. Thousands of surveys were done in writing of this book, and they prove that the key things that people are looking for in a leader are vision, inspiration, competence, and honesty. Inspiration is the one I find quite often is lacking in the orthodontic team. The orthodontist's job is to make sure that the staff understands the vision for the practice. It bothers me to hear orthodontists say, "I'm not a good leader," or "I'm not a good manager." I always tell them that they can learn those skills the same way they learn their orthodontic skills. There are hundreds of books and tapes available to assist you. I designed a peak performance training course strictly for orthodontists that is available in cassette tape and workbook format for individual leadership training. And I present this program for private study clubs as well. If you would like to spend a very productive day with your study club members, call our office to schedule your peak performance course today. The 5th item is to make sure that you have excellent communication in your office. Communication skills are learned. I want to encourage you to take a course together or have a communication trainer come to your office. Most of us learn about communication skills growing up in a home where our parents typically were not experts on the subject. We carry a lot of those communication skills, which are either good or bad or average, right into our daily lives. You can learn how to be a better communicator. Gary Smalley, who wrote Loving Relationships, states that we are the very first generation to work on our communication skills. Believe me, I know that I have worked on my skills for years. It has helped me at home, with my husband, and in my work. It is vitally important to learn how you are landing with others. No one gets up in the morning and thinks, "Ha-ha, I really wanted to screw up Susie's day today." No one gets up with that thought. But the reality is, if we do not have good communication skills that empower others, we can easily say something to someone that might hurt them. The more you learn how to talk with empowering communication, the better the people around you will feel. Ken Blanchard has written a book entitled Empowerment Takes More Than a Minute. If you want to enhance your ability to empower others, take the time to read this informative book. The 6th way to build team spirit is to create a feeling of security. Without a feeling of security, good things are not going to happen in your office in regards to team power. One way to make people feel secure is to have guidelines and standards. If someone can come in late every day, wear an improper uniform, not follow the perfume, nail, and jewelry guidelines set down by the office, and get away with it, the whole system falls apart. If the standards are not upheld, there is no team standard. Everything in the office is going to go to a lower level. The only way to keep things at a peak performance level is to give people feedback if they are not reaching the standards set by the team. This is so important. You would never go out and play tennis without having rules. The same is true for the orthodontic team. This is what makes people feel secure. When a staff member knows the rules are the same for everybody, they get that feeling of security. They understand what it takes in order to be a high performer on the team. Number 7 is to remember that the key to success in life is to make everyone around you feel important. That is what Dale Carnegie said when he wrote the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. We all love to feel important. Right now, I would like for you to tear off the bottom of page 6. Now, I'd like for you to find a partner. If you need to get into groups of 3, that is fine too. Put the name of the person you have chosen as your partner on your sugargram. I want you to take 1 minute and write down every positive thing you can think of about your partner. It can be as simple as to say that you like the color of their eyes, or their smile, or their enthusiasm. Just write as much as you can for the next 1 minute. Pause the tape while you write your sugargram. In 1 minute, fold up your sugargram and restart the tape. Does everyone have their sugargram ready? Now, what I'd like for you to do is to look at your partner right in the eyes and exchange sugargrams. Take a moment to read your own sugargram written by your partner. Now, doesn't that give you a good feeling? It is a wonderful thing to let people know the positive things that we are thinking and feeling. We all need praise, appreciation, and recognition. This is the foundation to creating team power in your office. I want to encourage you to take these ideas I've just shared with you through this video and put them into action right away. If you do not take action within 72 hours, it is highly unlikely that you are going to take action on any given idea. Thank you so much for your time and your participation. At Progressive Concepts, our goal is to educate and to serve. We do that through several different methods. I can come into your office and work with you on an individual basis, or you could attend one of our several workshops and seminars that we present each year. Also, stay tuned now for an update on the wealth of training products we have created to help educate your staff and doctors in every area of practice management. Thank you so much for investing in this valuable tape, and we look forward to hearing from your office again very soon. I'd like to take a few moments to give you some information on training courses that we have developed here at Progressive Concepts. All of our courses are approved for CEU hours and are designed to be taken either in the office during non-patient time or at home. The feedback that we receive from these courses is really quite spectacular. Let me briefly describe them for you. The New Patient Coordinator training course entitled Empower is guaranteed to increase your case acceptance by 10% or more when applied following my instructions. The course comes with a 6-tape cassette set and an easy-to-follow workbook and a video of a 1-step new patient process. Through the course, you will learn the job duties of the new patient coordinator and be given a training checklist for the position. You will learn the fundamentals of the initial telephone interview, the impact of the welcome package, and the office image, as well as how to give a tour of your office to the new patient that builds trust. I discussed with you the appropriate interaction between the new patient coordinator and the doctor during the appointment. You'll receive tips on what to say and what not to say. You will learn to evaluate how effective your observation recall system currently is and be given an action list of things to do to improve your recall statistics. You'll discover new information on flexible financing, and you'll learn to overcome objections to take your results to the next level. If you want increased case acceptance and a professionally tailored new patient system, order this course today. The Appointment Coordinator training course entitled Scheduling for Success will help you run on schedule, reduce your stress, and increase productivity. This course consists of a 6-tape cassette series and a workbook with 100 pages of valuable information, like sample schedules for 10, 12, and 14-day templates. My goal is to help you increase your production per day by 30 to 50%. There are over 30 pages of scripting in this course covering everything from how to greet the patient to how to handle someone upset about their account. There is also a wonderful section on getting organized daily, weekly, and monthly checklists, reports, and a chapter full of sample forms and references. If you want to fine-tune your professional skills and be more efficient and effective with scheduling, this is the course for you. The Financial Coordinator training course entitled Dollars and Cents will help you keep your overdue accounts to 5% or less and have zero over 90 days past due. In this 6-tape cassette series and 130-page workbook, I cover everything from basic training for the financial coordinator to handling insurance with ease. There is a great chapter that covers assessing your credit risk, which includes my own personal rating chart, and the information on presenting finances is unmatched. The section on establishing the collection system includes everything from how to evaluate your current system to a detailed outline of my own personal system, which includes sample collection letters and telephone scripts. There is also a section on budgeting and frequently asked questions and their answers. There have been hundreds of success stories from this course. One example is an office who implemented the system in July, and by November their dollar amount past due over 30 days had dropped by 85%. This course can definitely make a difference in your office. The last course I want to share with you today is our System for Advertising, Interviewing, and Hiring Key Positions on the Orthodontic Team. It is entitled Orthodontic Hiring Made Easy. This course contains cassette tapes and a workbook and covers the complete hiring process. You'll learn step-by-step instructions on designing your advertisement. It also includes sample advertisements. Just fill in the blanks and there you go. It includes a 5-step resume screening form with a scoring point system to assist you in weeding out applicants. You'll receive a scripted telephone interview and a 16-question personal interview form. It includes a personality test, manual dexterity test, a writing ability test, and much more. We're not satisfied with just helping you make your decision on the right candidate for the position. We have designed a salary and wage chart system for determining the starting salary. Take this course and increase your chance of a successful hiring process by 75% or more. Remember that winners take action within 72 hours and get results. The only way to climb the ladder of professional success is to read books, listen to tapes, attend seminars, and take action. Don't be satisfied with mediocrity. Commit to making an investment of time and money that will reap many rewards. All of our products come with a 30-day money-back guarantee and are shipped to you directly from our products division. Your handout includes a listing of these products I've shared with you and an order form with discounted prices. Call or fax Sheila at the products division today to place your order. Thank you again for your time, and my best wishes to you and your team as you continue to strive for excellence.